Shanti, Sister Jayanti.
Om Shanti.
So happy Janmashtami to you and to everyone.
Yes, indeed.
And gentlemen, I think everybody has this question. Has Krishna taken birth yet?
No, I am absolutely confident he hasn't yet taken birth. Om Shanti. And a very happy Janmashtami to each and everyone. But yes, we are still waiting for the world to be completely pure, and then we will see the birth of Sri Krishna happen. It won't happen prior to that. At the moment, we are still reaching the extreme ends of Kali Yuga, and every day's news keeps telling us how extreme things really are and how close we are to the end. So the signal is now hurry up with your own effort. But yes, the earth still isn't ready to support the birth of Sri Krishna, that's for sure. But also Baba's task hasn't yet been completed. Baba's task is to give Baba's message to the whole world, to make at least 108 completely pure, so that then everybody can be liberated from Kali Yuga. We've had liberation for the 8 jewels. We've had so many other souls join the advanced party, but I think Baba's waiting for the rosary of 108 to be completed. And we won't know about it, but what we will see is that things are very quickly shifting and things are finishing. At the moment, we see them reach their climax, but not yet finish. So we have to see things finish, and then the beginning happens. So that was just an aside. But today, Bab Dada was looking at his loving, his cooperative, and his powerful children. And it's amazing how much significance Baba packs into each and every single word that he speaks. So when he says the loving children, Baba's given a lot of detail and definition about that. But also, I can be loving, but am I cooperative? And am I cooperative always? And then powerful. Am I powerful all the time? Or is there a fluctuation in my stage in terms of power? And so to be able to reach that stage of all three equally balanced, yes, then Baba says you are number one. But for all of us, I think there's a margin and a difference. And so loving, yes, but even that, Baba's saying, is your love constant and natural and always consistent? Or is there a difference in your love? And Baba mentioned 3 categories of love. Not only does every word have significance, it has layers and layers and layers of meaning. And so on the one side, the loving children who just simply love from their hearts. And then the second type of love, where there is some motive involved. And so I love Baba because I want this. I love Baba because I want that. And yes, Baba will fulfill my desires, but that's not pure, unconditional love. That is very much love based on my needs, my desires, my wants. And so it's selfish love, actually. And then the third, the love that arises because I'm desperate at a particular time. And so, yes, I think we've all experienced all 3 stages, but especially this third one. Why should I wait to become desperate to receive God's love or God's help when it is actually my right? And so how can I make sure that my love is so pure, so clean, that it's not based on a situation, it's not based on a circumstance or an obligation or anything like that, but just a natural outpouring of unconditional love, because I have found the one whom I have been searching for half a kalpa. And then Baba talking about how the ones who have this first degree of love, and Baba said, I'm not going to talk about the second and a third, you can understand all of that. But the first degree of love, which is constant and spontaneous and natural and absolutely all the time. And so Baba said that those who experience this natural state of love are also able to experience all relationships with the Father, but they also have the understanding of what relationship to connect with according to the moment, according to the time. And so they claim the benefit, the attainment that comes out of all these different relationships. And then a very simple example. It's time for class. God, the Father, the teacher, has come to teach me. And here is God teaching me to enable me to claim the highest royal status, the elevated position. And what am I doing? I'm having an internal conversation with Baba. And Baba saying, what's going on? It's time for the teacher. It's not time for a conversation now. I am your friend, but it's not the time for that now. Or some will say, oh, I feel such a powerful stage of silence going beyond sound. I don't need to come into sound. I need to stay beyond sound. And yes, Baba wants me to experience that, but not at the time that he's teaching me. And so when am I going to learn this? If I can adjust myself so that I'm able to recognize the time, the 24-hour clock. Amrit Vela, there's a relationship of mother and father. Then there's a relationship with the teacher. And then through the day, it's a relationship of Srimad and Baba taking me beyond with just a glance. And then, yes, I can have chit chat with Baba as I do my work. And then in the evening, again, let me experience my angelic form with Baba. And then at night, I have to see Baba as Dharamraj. So each step of the different relationships brings a different benefit. And if I don't take that benefit according to the time, I don't have that wisdom of knowing what the time is asking of me, then everything's going to get muddled. And I won't be able either to experience that beautiful, sweet relationship, nor will I be able to experience the benefit of that relationship, the attainment that comes from that. And then Baba said, just as if the body is overweight and is carrying too much of a load, then you can't adjust your body and keep it stable where it is you want, or mold it and make it sit where you want it to sit. There'll always be shuffling and aches and pains and all sorts of things. But the same thing with the intellect. If the intellect is gross, if the intellect is overweight, it's not malleable enough, it's not flexible enough to be able to adjust, to know the time and the relationship and experience the benefit. And so Baba's saying, your intellect needs to be very, very clean. Is there rubbish filled in the intellect? Is it still filled with negative thoughts? Okay, you've gone beyond that. But is it still filled with waste thoughts? It's going to make you heavy. It's going to make you unable to have yoga. You won't be able to experience what you would like to experience in yoga. It's a complaint that many have, but this is the reason. I spend my time feeding my mind waste stuff, rubbish, and so the intellect gets polluted and it gets overweight. Too many thoughts about things that are not my business. I don't need to think about those things. And so wasteful thoughts make the intellect heavy. Equally, ordinary thoughts, same thing. My mind is occupied just with the things here. How can I fly up above and be above with Baba? And so the quality of intellect that's needed, Baba gave a whole string of definitions, that it has to be absolutely clean, sparkling, no rubbish, no dirt, no accumulation. It has to be extremely subtle, so subtle that I can catch God's vibrations and experience God's help. And then it has to be divine. Through the day, am I practicing soul consciousness, looking out through my third eye, so that I'm able to see the other soul with its specialities? Spirituality allows divinity to come forth. Divinity doesn't come on its own. Spirituality enables divinity to emerge. And so Baba was saying the divine intellect, but it's spirituality that allows that divine intellect to emerge. And so I need to make sure that I keep my consciousness spiritual through the day, not that I get stuck into position and role and responsibilities here, but I keep myself up above. When I'm seeing souls, I'm seeing them with a spiritual, with divine consciousness and a divine intellect. And then an unlimited intellect. A limited intellect will say me and mine and I and my wants and desires, and my ego comes in big time. I want respect, I want regard, I want position, I want control, I want power. All this is limited intellect. And Baba's saying, you can't remember me if your intellect is caught up with limited things. Become unlimited, step into the unlimited. And then a broad intellect, an intellect that's able to see past and present and future. Let me be able to experience all of this, then I know what's going on and what I need to do. And so if the intellect has all of these qualifications, then you're able to experience all relationships with Baba and the benefit of all of those. And you'll be lost in love to the extent that obstacles come, but they pass you by. You don't even notice them. You're lost in God's love. And of course, God's love is such that Baba is giving you a huge amount of cooperation so that the obstacle doesn't touch you, doesn't bother you. And it's come and it's gone. You've dealt with it with love. You haven't been stopping in front of it. You haven't bowed down to it. You've been able to fly up above with love. And so obstacles don't interfere. And then Baba asking us another question. Has your love been constant, stable, unshakable, immovable, imperishable? Good question. Has my love fluctuated, or has my love remained consistent and imperishable? Nothing ever kills it. Sometimes, Baba said, there can be problems, sometimes there can be obstacles, sometimes even ups and downs with the divine family. But the one whose love is imperishable, immovable, unshakable, isn't shaken by these things. The love stays constant. And of course, the connection with Baba stays constant. Therefore, you're able to move forward so fast. Otherwise, you would get stuck with all of these things. And so let the intellect be very clean, sparkling, and let the love be unshakable, absolutely immovable. And then Baba said, do you have controlling power and ruling power? And so in terms of the self, Baba's not talking about control of others. That's the opposite. But controlling power over my physical senses. Am I able to control where my eyes go? Am I distracted by someone? A lot of Murli is on being trapped by name and form recently over the last 10 days. But are my eyes under my control so that I'm looking straight ahead, I'm looking at Baba, I'm not distracted by any human being, whatever their activity may be. And so control first of the physical senses. Can I control my tongue? Am I eating the right things? Am I eating the right quantity? Or does my tongue run away with me? Or the tongue also in terms of what I say. Am I speaking in the right way, with the right tone, at the right time? Or my tongue says a dozen things and I could have bitten my tongue off afterwards. Why did I say this? There was no call to say this. It's now going to spoil the relationship and I'm going to have to work very hard to sort it out and put it right. So the control of the senses, but not only. My control over my mind. What's happening in Kali Yuga is the opposite. Minds are out of control. The whizzing around, the over-functioning of the mind, where the mind gets exhausted and then there's burnout, or where it even leads to mental illness. And so, full stop. Can I slow down the speed of my thoughts? Can I put a brake on my thoughts? Can I say, Om Shanti, and it finishes? And my intellect, is my intellect holding rubbish still? How come I'm not throwing it away? Why is it smelling? Why is it unhealthy? Because I've kept too much stuff in there. I don't need to. I need to clean it. I need to get rid of it. And then my sanskars. I need to control my sanskars. By now, we've got a pretty good idea of what our sanskars are. And where am I at? Have I cleaned them to have moved away from Tamopradhan sanskars to Rajopradhan? Or even beyond the Rajopradhan sanskars to Sato? And I can just see Sato-Pradhan sanskars just ahead in front of me. And I know in a short while I can get there. So control means controlling myself. And then I can be the ruler of the self. The ruler isn't exercising control. Control is the first stage. I need so much power from Baba that I can control my tongue, both in terms of speech as well as in terms of taste. I need power from Baba to control my mind. And then, once I've been able to achieve 100% control, then there's sovereignty. I am the master. I am the ruler. I'm not trying anymore. And sometimes my senses run away. Sometimes they're disobedient. No. I've controlled them, managed them to the point where now they are clean. Sato Pradhan. The best sanskars have now emerged. And then I'm the ruler. I'm carefree. Everything is going along in the right way. Things happen at the right time. And then, of course, Baba's seeing the numbers that have arrived in Madhuban, huge numbers always. And then Baba's saying, well, I'm looking at the time. I'm looking at the body, the chariot, trying not to put too much pressure on the chariot. And remember, this is March 88. And Baba knew The chariot didn't know herself. We didn't know. But when a couple of months later, Daddy went for checking in Bombay, then they discovered that she had a tumor. So already in March, Baba's saying, Baba's concerned about the chariot. And so personal meetings aren't going to go on forever and ever. And so then Baba talking about how in the physical dimension, there's always limits. In the subtle region, there are no limits. Brahma Baba, when he had a physical body, had certain parameters, certain limits. But now that he's in the Avyakt form, he is beyond those limits. You walk from here to there, how long will it take you? And in your subtle form, you won't even notice. The angel can fly fast and reach the destination. The human body cannot move, not even 1/10 as quickly as the angel. And so Bab Dada is doing his work very fast from the angelic region. Baba is now free from all karmic bondages, the bondage of the body, the bondage of sanskars, the bondage of everything. Doing a huge amount of karma, good karma, but yet not claiming any return from that. This is why Brahma Baba is the one soul who is truly, truly equal to God. Just as God does so much and claims no return, in the same way, for the last 50 plus years, Brahma Baba has done so much, but not for himself, altruistic, just simply for the world. He attained his own perfect state, 18th January 1969. And so all these years since have been service of others, nothing for the self. And then Baba saying, experiment yourself with your own subtle angelic form. And you'll feel that there's no tiredness. You can do a huge amount, much more than you could in your physical form. And of course, with Baba in his subtle form, then there's all these stories, both of omnipresence as well as of Krishna, that every soul gets satisfied. Every soul feels, I've just experienced a beautiful meeting with Baba. But within a moment, this one is having a vision of Baba, that experience of Baba, and that feeling of belonging to Baba. And this is how the concept of omnipresence arises. God must be everywhere because we feel him everywhere. We can see what God's doing everywhere, but no. And then with Krishna, every gopi felt she was the beloved and she was the one who was going to dance with Krishna. And of course, Baba in the subtle dimension, Baba able to give each one of us that experience of being with Baba, loving Baba, experiencing that love. And so lots of confusion later on, but at this moment we understand the truth and the reality of all of this. And so Baba sharing all the different qualifications of the signs of love and the number one stage of love. And then, of course, there were groups meeting Baba and those personal meetings, which we took as blessings. And Baba would sometimes say that, how come blessings are working for some and blessings don't seem to be working for others, even though so many got blessings? And Baba's reply was, when you use your blessings by keeping them in your awareness and following in Baba's footsteps, those blessings become a reality. And when you don't do this, then yes, you've had those blessings, but you haven't been able to imbibe them in your life. And so they're not visible in your day-to-day activity. But Baba gave us so many blessings. And those who are coming today will say, but we didn't get those blessings. Well, take all the blessings that I was giving you with every single Murli. Every Murli has the blessing at the end. Take that for yourself personally and make it your own every single day. And your life will surely be blessed and you'll feel Baba's blessings with you all the time. Om Shanti.
Thank you, gentlemen. Lovely as always. Gentlemen, can we just take up a couple of questions from the Murli? One of them was about Baba saying that now those of all religions are gradually being molded in their own way. Earlier, they used to be very strict. What does Baba mean?
This was a Sakar Murli a few days ago. And my understanding of that is that the whole area of interfaith opened up towards the end of the 80s in a very big way. And then, of course, 93, we had the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago 100 years after the first one. So 100 years went by while people were caught up with materialism and all sorts of things, and they forgot about the religions coming together. So I think that when there's, again, the opening of the door of interfaith activity, this is where the people who belong to that awareness that there is truth in every religion, and of course, Baba's explanation, the seed is one, the tree is one, and yes, there are the big branches, then the little ones, but it's one seed, one tree of humanity. And so every branch that has taken something from Baba has taken it from the seed. And so you see the truth that exists in every tradition. And so it was a time of the opening up of, again, interfaith once more. Interfaith activities had continued in a sort of low-key way, even before the World Parliament, but definitely that time at the end of or at the beginning of the 80s, we were beginning to see the whole period of interfaith now again coming to the foreground. And it stayed like that. Today, even though there is so much fundamentalism in certain areas, but on the other side, there's also the faiths molding and coming together with respect for each other's faith.
Yes, nice, gentlemen. Thank you. And just this other one point, you kind of touched on it, but gentlemen, this whole aspect of giving your burden over to Baba and, you know, becoming the carefree emperor. And I mean, I'm also interested to know, I mean, we give it to Baba, we say, okay, Baba, this is yours. But again, it feels like lip service. Like, is there some belief system we have to change within us to really hand it over?
Absolute consciousness that I am only an instrument. And so I will do the best that I can. And then I have to let go. I have to step back and say, it's in Drama's hands. And Baba's plan is what is going to evolve. So it doesn't say become careless, become irresponsible, but it really means imbibing that consciousness that Baba is pulling the strings and I'm doing what I can do, but the results are up to Drama. And so not shaken by success or by failure or what appears to be failure. I've done my best, and is there something more I can do? Well, let me try. But if there's nothing more I can do, then detach. This is why Baba uses expression, pyara and nyara. Yes, you have love for all and you want to do the best for all, but then there comes a moment when you have to say, okay, now it's up to you, Baba. I've done what I can. And at that moment, really, truly detach.
Okay, we'll try that. Also, gentlemen, I thought today we could focus a little bit on the Golden Age and Krishna. So yeah, tell me, what do you know? What have you experienced about the Golden Age? What are some maybe nice highlights of the Golden Age you've had in trance before?
My experiences of the Golden Age in trance were as a child. And so it was a beautiful scenery, wonderful colors, wonderful fragrances, surrounded by a lot of love, a lot of lightness, and just beauty, beauty shining through faces, beauty shining through flowers, beauty shining in all the world around. And so if one word that describes the Golden Age is truth, Satyug, the age of truth, that's what it is. But truth is revealed as perfect beauty. And so everything reflecting the truth of the Creator in its real, true beauty. So that's the image that I'm left with. As a child, you don't understand the detail of things. So that's my memory, my recollection. The other thing is of a lot of love and lightness, dancing, and so happiness and joy. This is why we love the stories of Krishna so much. And in many centers that I go to across the world, of course, they have pictures of Baba and the Yagya and Madhuban and all of that. But they'll also have pictures of the Ras Leela, Krishna dancing with the gopis. People love those images. And it's because it's reminding us of that joy of Satyug. And yes, Krishna will be dancing with his friends in Satyug. And so that's the other amazing, beautiful experience of Satyug, that it's a time to dance, a time to just simply enjoy. The third thing that I'm thinking about, that I'm recalling, think about how heavy gold is. And even a ring, it's heavy. But imagine how when matter is Sato Pradhan, even metal, even gold, is so light and so pure that instead of having eyeshadow on your eyelid, Lakshmi will have gold around her eyes. And it'll be like the necklace around the neck, but this will be just a row of gold. And gold is that light, your eyelids can't carry any weight at all. But just a little tiny cameo, a photograph of how light everything is in the Golden Age. Metal is light, but our bodies are light. Our minds are totally light and free and easy, completely divine. And so a time of lightness, of love, of joy, of laughter, but always, always sharing happiness.
That's nice. And gentlemen, what about food? Because again, there's a question mark about whether on the one hand, we offer 56 varieties to the deities, but then on the other hand, we only eat fruits and flowers. So what is your understanding? The early part of the Golden Age, we don't cook?
It was a question that we asked Avyakt Dada on the stage in Om Shanti Bhavan when we used to have teachers' meetings with Baba. And Baba would sit with us so carefree, so light. And Baba would look around and say, question? Any more questions? We'd ask, and Baba would still say, any more? Ask. Open up your heart and ask. And so at one point in Madhuban, there'd been this big debate about what happens in Satyug. Will there be cooking, or will everything be raw and natural? And of course, Baba said that, every fruit that you have, every vegetable that you have will convey all the fragrances and all the different tastes that You don't need any additives. You don't need to put any spices or herbs or anything to flavor. Just whatever it is on its own is so delicious. And Baba said, so the imagination of many was that Baba would say, no cooking. And Baba said, yes, there will be cooking. Why? Because the deities want to offer hospitality. And a sign of hospitality is that you cook for others with great love. And I don't know that Lakshmi is going to be stirring the pot, but certainly there'll be others who'll be helping her do it. But Lakshmi will definitely be the one who's giving instructions for what is to be made. But it'll all be done with energy that is without any pollution. Baba didn't specify nuclear energy or solar energy, and some would say there is probably solar energy, but Baba did say the cooking there is without any smell, without any pollution, without any dirt or anything like that. But yes, there will be cooking because the deities will want to offer things with a lot of love. And cooking is a sign of love also, hospitality. So yes, there'll be all the fruits and all the juices and everything, but there'll also be cooking going on. So I don't even say I think. It's exactly what I've heard from Avyakt Dada.
That's good to know. We should note this point, gentlemen.
You should.
No, because again, you know, we've talked about this before where people say, well, I'm not cooking, it's not important. But, you know, we've been doing it for 5,000 years. So what about dress, gentlemen? Again, we've heard that whatever they wear once, they don't wear again. And it's handed down. Is that the case?
Baba has just specified that there'll be clothes of lightness and beauty and modesty. The deities are very modest. And I don't think I accept that it'll just be one off and then finish. I think that everything will be constantly so fresh and new. It won't feel as if I'm wearing it second time, 10th time, 20th time. But that I can't say for sure. That's what I think.
Okay, just maybe one last question of like the general timetable, gentlemen. What are they doing? Not just dancing all the time, right? I mean, there'll be meeting.
There'll be a court. There'll be people sitting in the court. There'll be an exchange of news. There'll be an exchange of information. And meetings won't be long and drawn out in which there's debate and discussion. No, but an idea comes, another one accepts. Ek ne kaha, dusre ne mana. One says something, the other one accepts it. And there'll be, you see, the thing is that all the deities will be in tune with each other on the same wavelength. And so you don't need to speak a lot. You need to say just a few words and the others understand. There's no complication. And of course, our minds are very, very transparent and we're able to read each other's minds, each other's thoughts. So there's no rubbish, there's nothing unclean there and nothing selfish. You know, if you were to read my mind today, maybe you'd get a shock and you'd say, oh my goodness, what's going on in there? But the deity is completely clean, completely pure. So open books. And so, yes, there'll be communication in words also, because language is also very sweet and beautiful, and it's important to share. And that's what's going to continue later, of course, when we lose this power of just mental telepathy. But a lot of communication will happen just through the power of thought. And yes, words will be sweet, words will be like poetry, like a song. And after sitting in court, sorting out our business of the ruling of the country, we'll then say, okay, let's have a party, let's eat together, let's spend time together, just chatting. And so I think there'll be a lot of hospitality, a lot of entertainment, and a lot of love. There's a a very nice word that they use for Satyug in some scriptures, and it's called Krityuga, which means it's the age where everything has been done already. It's already been done, Krit, Karam. So that karma has been done already. So like the farmer, there will be farmers, but the farmer won't have to dig the earth. There won't be any toil or labor or sweat and perspiration involved. And so the farmer will be able to go into the field, sprinkle the seeds, and everything will then do its own work, and there'll be beautiful fruits and flowers and whatever it is that we need coming. So everything happening very easily. There'll be barter system, there'll be exchange, there'll be places where you can go and have barter and change your goods for the goods that the other one has. There'll also be coins. There will be an economy, but it'll be golden coins. And it's not that it'll be expensive. It's not that it'll be a sign of power. It'll just be literally currency, the flow of energy. And so from one to another, and it'll flow.
Very nice, gentlemen. And those who want to read the Murli, right? There's the Murli at the end of Adidev, about 2-3 pages, all on the Golden Age. So there's more there. And
I have to say that a little while earlier, there had been a booklet produced that was circulated, and I've forgotten the exact name of it. Was it Divine Experiences or something like that? And there were beautiful passages of classes from the dadis. So when we say seniors now, it means many things, but from the dadis. And the dadis had shared their thoughts about the Golden Age, and also taken from Avyakt Murli that gave beautiful descriptions of many aspects of the Golden Age.
Is it Visions of the Future?
No. Visions of the Future is a completely different package. This was Divine Experiences or Glimpses of Divinity, something like that.
Exquisite Exchanges? Exquisite Conversations?
That's it. Exquisite Exchanges. That's what it was. Yeah. And an international team had put it together.
That's right. Okay, lovely. Well, one person saying it would be good to have, go into trance so we could see these, but I think that's a futile question.
I think it's going to come at the end. Baba said that it's going to come at the end. Just today's Murli. And Baba's saying that just as at the beginning, Baba kept you entertained, then it was time for effort. So that time for effort is now coming to its conclusion. And beyond the effort, then there'll be the visions. Some with beautiful experiences that Satyuga is just ahead, and some with experiences that, well, I had the opportunity and I didn't use my time and my opportunity as I could have. So different levels of experiences, but definitely Baba's mentioned at the end, there'll be a lot of trance.
Okay, gentlemen. We'll take up a few of these questions from the chat. So somebody is asking, should we celebrate Lokik birthdays? Because sometimes there's big fanfare made about these Lokik birthdays. So it's not a judgment, just a question that they're asking. What is your opinion?
Generally, we do celebrate Lokik birthdays now, because Daddy would say that it's a time to get blessings from everyone. It's a time in which you yourself can have a very special renewal of your promises to Baba. And it's a time when others can also share how they see you and what they see in you, so that you can experience that upliftment. So we do celebrate nowadays.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, it's for the purpose of getting blessings and maybe not to overdo it, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, another question. What does the Yagya say about souls with mental illnesses? Are they ill when the soul starts disturbing someone in the center? Can we prevent them from coming to the center so it doesn't create karmic accounts?
It's a very delicate situation. And sometimes souls are aware that they're not so well, and sometimes they're not. If they're aware that they're not well, then it's very easy to talk to them and say, you know, it's creating a disturbance here. Perhaps you need to go to a professional, seek professional help and get well. And then when you're better, then you come back again. And then where a person doesn't know that they're not well, that is extremely, extremely delicate. And the best way is to see if they have Lokiks who are in touch with them. Sometimes there are individuals who are totally single and don't have much contact with Lokiks, so that's even more difficult. But otherwise, if they do have Lokik relatives that you can connect with, then you can talk to the Lokik relatives and say, you might have noticed that this person's behavior is not always so peaceful. And our suggestion is that really this person needs professional help. And so see how they respond. And if they can then speak to the person, because then they know that person better than we do. And the behavior is, of course, more obvious to them than it is to us. And so I would deal with it in that way. And if they're really alone, and there's no Lokik relative in contact with them, then we have to bite the bullet and we have to say, can I have a chat with you? Have you noticed that your behavior is not as Baba would want it to be? It's creating quite a disturbance for others. Can I suggest that you take professional help? And be very yogyukt, be very loving and kind, and maybe the person will accept it.
And connected with that, gentleman, so how is it that souls who are pakka for many years and then they leave Baba, but then they develop some paranoia or schizophrenia? Is there, I mean, I think the question is, if they've been a Brahmin and understood and wise and everything, then what happens to the mind, the intellect? I think that's the question.
I think the first step is that when a person isn't making proper spiritual effort, which means really looking at the self rather than looking around and outside, if I begin to look around and outside, then I get very distracted, and then many doubts come into my mind. And then I say, well, there's discrimination, so-and-so's given opportunity, I'm not given opportunity. All sorts of things like this come in the way. And if this is allowed to continue, then that individual themselves moves away from Baba. They're creating quite a lot of upheaval within the community anyway, but at some point then they move away from the community. And then of course, they must be going through a huge amount of trauma, because on the one side, they've recognized the truth, and on the other side, they themselves have chosen to throw that opportunity away. And so when it's that sort of condition, I can imagine that the mind is totally unstable, being pulled in different directions all at once. And so that state of mind is then a very difficult thing to manage. But of course, the way out of that quandrum is that if they decide with a lot of humility and a lot of love for Baba, that I'm really going to work on myself, I'm going to practice soul consciousness, I'm going to connect with Baba, then they sort themselves out. And if they've been persistent and consistent with that, then yes, it's possible that they get well and that they're back with Baba. But when the mind is in turmoil in this way, to even get to that realization that this is the way out of my predicament, it's not so easy for them to understand this until they accept full responsibility. I am here where I am because of my own thoughts and feelings.
Gentlemen, could it be karma coming up, like some hidden karma that we didn't know, like a sickness comes up later, right? That we didn't know about it. Could it be that?
It could definitely be that. But my feeling is that where I've been accurate in Srimad, then I'm getting Baba's help. And so I'm staying on track, and that's helping me deal with the karma. I don't know how much karma I carry. And so different sanskars keep popping up from time to time that I didn't know about. But with Baba's help and Srimad, those two things, my love for Baba and faith in Baba is in place, so I'm getting help. But I'm also following Srimad. Then these two things in place mean that I'm going to overcome that karma and keep moving on, because everybody has to deal with karma, not just a few people. At the end of Kali Yuga, we're all carrying a huge amount of baggage of karma. And so the question is, how do I deal with it? And Baba's showing me how to deal with it. And Baba's reminding me, look at yourself. Don't look at anyone else. See yourself and see Baba. That's it.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Here's another question. Lokik seva. Lokik seva, how to define it, and what is the difference between Lokik seva and Alokik seva? Because some think that what they do for their family is service.
What I'm doing for my family is actually fulfilling my karmic responsibilities. And that I have to do. It's not an option, it's not a choice. And if I do it well with Baba's remembrance as a trustee, then I will know where to draw the line and say, okay, I've done enough of this now. Now my time and energy can be used for God's service, whether it's in terms of my timetable of a day, or whether it's in terms of timetable in terms of my lifespan. So there's a time when parents have to give a huge amount to their little children. And then there comes a time when the children are at school, and so I have time through the day. Then I can do some other type of service. I don't need to be hanging around the house and doing extra things all the time. Yes, if I do something extra for a special occasion, no problem. But I have enough time during the period that the children are at school to give time to Baba's service. And where I'm not doing that, what is it? Is it my laziness? Is it my attachment? Is it my greed? Just check and see. And so there should be the possibility of saying, this is Lokik service, and it's my karmic responsibility. I must do it. And then there's service, which is my option. Nobody's going to say you have to do it, but it's fortune, it's opportunity. And if I can make time available for that, that's my fortune. How did Baba's yajna run in the early days? The mothers used to be so economical with their budget that they would save pennies and accumulate pounds, and the pounds would go to Baba. And others would say, but my budget is so tight, I can't even manage my budget. But can I be so economical that I can have a saving? And even that little saving I put towards Baba's yajna. So it's a question of awareness and attitude. Do I recognize Sangam Yug is an opportunity to be able to serve God, to serve God's family, to serve in God's home, to give Baba's message to other people? Or am I going to give my time, attention, energy, money, everything in Lokik? I've done this for the whole cycle, and I'm going to continue to do this now. It's okay, it's fine. but I'm missing out of creating my fortune. So my choice, what do I do?
Thank you, gentlemen. Here's a question that if earthquakes appear because of impurity, then why did the earthquake take place between Silver Age and Copper Age?
The question is actually being answered at that moment when souls fall from that state of purity. There are earthquakes and the earth is shaking, matter is shaking. And of course, as a result of that, all the history of the golden and silver ages goes down deep, deep, deep below, and you're not able to access it. And it even disappears from our own consciousness and awareness. There's memories of the deities, but we don't know that we are those deities. The impurity has already created amnesia.
Okay, thank you. Can Sister Jayanti address this subject of favoritism when a center in charge is giving more attention to one than the other?
This is the whole subject of where am I looking? Why am I looking at others to see that somebody else is being given more attention or whatever? Let me do what I need to do and keep my attention focused on my own study, my own awareness, my own opportunity for good karma, for service. There's infinite amount of service available, really. I don't need to see what others are doing on any level whatsoever. And if there is favoritism and the teacher is doing that, then it's her problem, her issue, not mine. And the person who's getting all the attention, well, there'll come a moment when it's not possible to get that attention and they'll have to sort themselves out and see, was I dependent on one person's attention or am I really here for Baba? So don't think about it, don't look at it. It's a waste of your energy.
If somebody is hurt by something connected with this, actually, if somebody is hurt by another in the center, should they create a distance or communicate or take it out, argue it out?
Arguing is not the way for Brahmins, and definitely not if I'm on my way to become a deity. But let me first of all become calm and not feel that anguish of being hurt. And when I'm calm and stable, then I can speak to that individual involved and say, maybe you didn't realize that what you said actually caused a lot of sorrow. And the other person will probably say, but I didn't mean it. I didn't intend it in that way. And maybe by having that sort of conversation, I don't like this word discussion because it's percussion, it's noise. And so just a conversation in which I'm explaining where I stand and giving the other the opportunity to explain why they said or why they did this. If I attack them and say, you did this to me, well, they're probably going to attack me back again more. So it's a waste of time. But opening the door for a dialogue, for a conversation, and just seeing where they're at. Maybe they do have a reasonable explanation. And maybe truly they didn't realize that what they were doing was causing somebody sorrow. So they'll say, thank you for alerting me. I'll remember that for next time. And if they're indignant and say, I did nothing wrong, you say, okay, I just wanted to draw your attention to it. But you don't have to try and prove it. It's a waste of energy. If the person isn't able to realize by your communicating it, then really just put a full stop to it. Don't take it any further at all. And just make yourself strong. You can take Baba's love, Baba's power, and strengthen yourself. And don't create a distance, but certainly create a shield, armor plating of yoga power, especially when you're with that individual. But the situation is that today this person's hurt me, tomorrow another one and another one and another one will also hurt me because I've become sensitive, and so I keep feeling hurt and getting hurt. If I become strong, whatever they say and do isn't going to hurt me.
Gentlemen, I'm aware of the time, but do you have time for one more question or you have to go?
One more last question.
Yeah, only because we can be practicing it in the week. So gentlemen, this idea of Sakash, actually, I wanted to ask you in the beginning. So can you tell us the nitty-gritty of Sakash? What is actually happening? Because there's so much happening. We have to send Sakash to Afghanistan, to Haiti, to Africa. Like, what are we doing? Where are we zooming our light?
The important thing is, I remember the person, the place, or the situation. For one moment, I hold that in my inner vision. And I bring Baba in front of me. And Baba's light and might is going to reach that place. It's not me that can give that place Sakash. Can you imagine me trying to change the situation in Afghanistan? Or me trying to take away the sorrow of the people in Haiti? But I can bring Baba in front, holding that situation, and then leave it to Baba. And that's the end. I must just continue with my own powerful, powerful yoga, connected only with Baba. And Baba's light and might is going to reach those souls and help them. Don't spend half an hour thinking about one place or another place or one individual or another individual. That's not Sakash. That's my attachment or that's my interest. No. The world is suffering, and people here, people there, people everywhere, whether it's suffering of the mind or suffering of the body, different things are going on. And so I just need to hold that person or place for a moment, bring Baba in front of me, and continue with my meditation.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone. We will end with a lovely song now and a few minutes meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, and Om Shanti to all.
In a world of heavenly beauty, in a world of happiness and joy, warm sunlight golden, calm nights are sweetened by the fragrance of jasmine. The sound of the peacocks in the mornings like melodious trumpets. The children of the sun rise to play with Sri Krishna. Krishna was the first prince of the land of divine kings, and he is coming back again. Sri Krishna is coming again. Will you play with Sri Krishna again? Sri Krishna is coming again. Will you be a Sri Krishna again? It's the time of the birth of Sri Krishna. the cycle of time has spun.